Good evening from Pompey. I am back home. The clouds are starting to break away, so I'm gonna give Stellina a few minutes before I bring her online. Okay, the moon has stopped jumping around. Clouds were messing up with both focus and tracking. Last night from southern New York State, Portal 7, Seestar imaged Polaris, T CrB, M13 and NGC6210. We're going to repeat all of these at 10 minutes apiece from Portal 4, and then attempt to do the same thing in a couple of weeks from Portal 2, and then do a side-by-side comparison of the three areas. In the meantime, Stellina will have the unique task of watching T CrB all night, while Seestar goes about its business. Stellina will sit on T CrB with a small window in the corner and be there all night. My plan over the next 4 months, or until T Coronae Borealis goes supernova on us, is to have a second telescope watching it whenever I'm doing work. And we're going to take turns Dwarf, Seestar, Stellina, and Edge HD11 will take turns watching T CrB. Good evening, Zena. Tonight's program is to finish up the work that we started yesterday, and that is the comparison among Bortle 7 and Bortle 4. So the targets will be the same that we did yesterday, plus a few more. I am faced with a dilemma. The Chinese space station Tiangong is expected to transit the moon later this evening, in about 2.5 hours, and I'm debating whether I should give my Ioptron mount a baptism by fire by trying it, or whether I should stick to Seestar capturing the transit. We'll see. Mark, good evening. Yeah, I have not attempted to focus on the moon. I should do that. I was waiting for the clouds to give us a break. That is a slightly sharper image, slightly more in focus. I'm gonna grab 30 seconds to put out as a short. Zena, it was snowing this afternoon here. Yeah, we will not see 97 for a while. So Tiangong is expected to pass that away near the top of the moon, and my interest in the moon began on July 20th, 1969, as a kid sitting with a whole bunch of adults around a tiny black and white TV, watching the Apollo 11 landing on the moon. Let me see if I can get a more accurate estimate of the transit. The transit is supposed to take place at 11:49 p.m. tonight. Tiangong will be 7 arc seconds in size. So our best bet is to start recording about half a minute before and just record a full minute waiting for it to pass by. Our best bet is going to be to go into raw mode. We have a lot of work to do between now and then. We have 2 full hours. Let me see if Stellina is ready to initialize. Okay, we have enough clear skies. I'm going to give Stellina a chance. Let's go. Before we hop onto which transit, Gina, the Chinese space station is going to fly in front of the moon at 11:49 p.m. tonight, so it's in 2 hours. It is expected to pass right around here, at the very tip of the moon. I debated whether I should get the big scope oriented at the moon to try to capture it, but I do not have, I have not done enough testing on the new mount yet to have the confidence to do it. Okay, Stellina is autofocusing, and this is good news. It means it has initialized successfully. So as soon as Stellina is done initializing, I'm going to put the Stellina moon next to the Seestar moon just for the fun of it before we get to work. Stellina is a designated driver tonight, so to speak. She's gonna spend the night tracking T CrB. For those who have not had a chance to read up, T Coronae Borealis is expected to blow up sometime over the next 5 months. It is a binary star system where a smaller white dwarf is stealing from the larger red dwarf. And when it steals enough, it takes about 80 years to steal enough, it just blows up and repeats the process. Apparently enough data have been gathered in the past 3 observations of that phenomenon that scientists are confident that the dip in magnitude that has occurred about a year ago is very comparable to what had been observed in 1949, and that the explosion is going to occur sometime between April and September of 2024. Stellina says, look for a target, we shall do that. Solar system, the moon, observe. Good evening, apparition. Yeah, we get it a lot higher than 36 degrees here. The nice thing about this time round is there are lots of amateur astronomers like you and me who are putting telescopes on it 24/7 pretty much. The big question mark in my mind is when it goes supernova, how long will it remain at magnitude 2? I have read varying accounts. Some mention it's only a couple of hours, and others are talking about possibly a day or a day and a half. So let's hope it is on the longer end of the estimate. Observation failed. Well, thank you, Stellina. Stellina does not want to go to the moon for some reason. Let's see if she's willing to go to work then. Let's hope it is most of a week. Right now T CrB is at 22 degrees altitude for me, and as the night progresses it's going to peak at about 65 degrees tonight. Actually 70 degrees altitude, okay. Let's hope Stellina finds it and does its job. In the meantime, Seestar has work to do. So we've done the moon, we need to do Polaris next. Okay, from moon to Polaris it is likely to wrap the cord. Good evening, Larry. Okay, there is Stellina on T CrB. It's gonna watch it all night and the satellite has gone by. Okay. Alright, in the order of events, let's go to M13. Larry, as you may recall from last night, we imaged M13, NGC6210 and Polaris all in Bortle 7. I plan to get 10 minutes of each in Bortle 4 tonight, and then get on to doing some good stuff after that. Okay, there she is. I should be able to pull images side by side. It is already an improvement. Okay, I'm looking at trying to find yesterday's M13. 420 JPEG. Okay, let's see if OBS Studio lets me display it. It doesn't want to. Okay. Right, here they are side by side. The image on the left was the Bortle 7 after 10 minutes. The image in the middle is what we have going on live right now. We're gonna give it 10 minutes also. Right now the two images are very comparable, and we have another 6 minutes to go. And that is one measurement that I wish to make, and that is stacking time versus Bortle. Would a much longer stack compensate for the lower Bortle or not? Apparition, yes, they were taken literally 24 hours apart. So the moon has grown by only a few percent between last night and tonight. Zina, I expect to be here for a while. I just woke up from a nap, so I'm good to go. I had my coffee. So I will be up for a long time. Open eye, I did not use any filter last night. When we get to looking at NGC6210, I will put a filter because it is a nebula. But these are identical setups. Yeah, we're fairly far from the moon. The moon right now is at 142 degrees azimuth, and M13 is at 61 degrees, so we're a solid 80 degrees away. Thanks, Zina. Enjoy your evening. Hope to see you soon again. For some unexplained reason, my Android phone does not give me the option of leaving the screen on indefinitely. It goes to sleep after 30 minutes. That's why I keep tickling it every few minutes. The Android tablets have no problem staying on. Apparition, I don't know that Stellina allows me to do any adjustment. So the answer for now is no. Bland is good until it goes supernova. We're at 7 minutes with M13. It's starting to look very, very different. As far as T CrB is concerned, I don't know whether we will be able to see galaxy IC 4587, which is about 5 arc minutes away from T CrB. I don't know how much stacking we need for it to show up. Yes, Seestar affords us the luxury of adjusting. And there is M13. Okay, we are at 10 minutes. M13 is done. Time to hop onto Polaris. For some strange reason, Seestar never finds Polaris, even though it tells us that it successfully found it. Okay, thanks apparition. There we go. See, there is no Polaris in the picture. Polaris is right in that corner down there. But it says we got Polaris. Let's see what it looked like yesterday. That same part. This is what we got last night, after 10 minutes. For some obscure reason, and I plan to submit a ticket to the Seestar folks, for some reason Seestar cannot find Polaris, period. There is no Polaris in there. A couple nights ago I decided to slew manually and discovered that Polaris was indeed hidden in the bottom left corner. What that would mean is that Seestar went to the true north pole, if you will, as opposed to Polaris. So it went to 00, or in my case 043, as opposed to going to Polaris per se. Trying to compare these two images side by side, there is a slight rotation, about a day's worth, if you will, given that Polaris is moving around the pole. Apparition, considering that Seestar plate solves the target to make sure it has found it, there is no explaining why it thinks that this is Polaris. But we're still getting the data that we're looking for, namely how many stars in that part of the sky can it image in 10 minutes. New York Raider fan, I have not. Apparition, I always search for Polaris in the search and click on it. I'm trying to submit to astrometry.net this image of Polaris to see what it thinks it's looking at. Alright, excuse me if I'm going to be polluting some of the image up there. But this is what astrometry has given me. And it says it is right there. This is the stacked image from yesterday of Polaris, and it is saying it's right there, just about missing Polaris. Okay, back to work. I will look up and see if we see any meteors. Even though we are not right on top of Polaris, we are far enough from the moon, actually a full 140 degrees. It shows really a big difference in the number of stars that a Bortle 4 sky is showing compared to a Bortle 7. It's going to be fun putting Bortle 2 side by side with these two pictures. We have 1 minute to go, and then we will get off Polaris and go to NGC6210 for no other reason than that's what we imaged last night. Those who joined me last night know that I was imaging from a hotel window. And before the purists jump on me, the window was open. I was not imaging through glass. I was surprised that hotels, modern hotels, still allowed us to open the window. So I just opened the window and pointed Seestar out. So that did not give me much sky to work with. It was a narrow wedge around northeast to east. Okay, 10 minutes. Thank you. Apparition, this is how I searched. I clicked on search and I typed Polaris. And when Polaris came up, I clicked on it. And this is what I'll be doing with 6210 next. This is what 6210 looked like last night. There is the planetary nebula. Well, the good news is I succeeded in not getting arrested yesterday, because I found that the door to the roof was unlocked and I could have gotten on the roof and done the imaging from there. But I did notice that they had 3 security cameras on the roof. So I decided, well, bottom line, it was extremely windy. We were looking at 30-mile-per-hour winds yesterday, so being in a room was the safer bet. Let us know what happens around the south celestial pole. I turned the filter on for 6210. Trying to make them match. That's good. Again, there is the nebula, the planetary nebula, right there. Just as a reminder, we have a moon transit tonight at 23:49 or 11:49, so that'll be just under 2 hours. The Chinese space station Tiangong will transit the moon from my location. I'll be able to see it. And right now I plan to put Seestar on it, on the moon. In the meantime, we have just under 2 hours to do some serious imaging. I'm going to quickly see if any of the hoist targets are candidates tonight. Looks like NGC6110 is the only hoist target that is a possibility right now. All the other winter targets have dipped too low. Let me see if the Rosette Nebula is long gone by now. No, but we do have an Indian hotspot up there. I don't know if you heard, they asked how is that new Indian restaurant on the moon, and the answer is the food is good, but there is no atmosphere. Right now the two images look very comparable. At 5 minutes in portal 4 and 10 minutes in portal 7, they are very, very comparable. Let's see what an additional 5 minutes in portal 4 will give us. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is your chance. I have clear skies from north to south through east, basically half the world. Do you have any target you'd like me to hop on next? No, Horsehead is long gone. Orion is a winter target. Although you heard me say it snowed here today, it is no longer winter. Yeah, Horsehead cannot be seen from right now. It's way west and down. Think east. Anything from northeast to southeast. We can do Mercurian's chain. Which part of it do you want to see? The eyes? It's too close to the moon, Larry. It is sitting right on top of the moon. Sorry. All right. M86 it is. Let's see how many of them we can fit at the same time. As long as Seestar is able to plate solve near the moon. Cone Nebula is way behind me. The only reason I'm able to enjoy Portal 4 being only 13 miles from Syracuse is that there is a mountain right behind me. It blocks the light but it prevents me from seeing anything west. Alright. Just give me 1 second to readjust formats. Already, let's see how much we can fit off the Mercurian's chain. That should be good enough. Let's go for it. Filter off. Let's start capture. You wanted a test, Larry? Here's your test. Glider Rider, yes, you are correct. We are on top of the moon. Larry suggested it might be a test to see what Seestar does. It's not doing well at all. Let me see what NGC6050 tells us. It is tiny, it's less than a minute, so not fair. Okay, yeah, I see what you're looking at. We may be able to get quite a few of them in the same place. Let's see how many of these we can get. Alright, enough of 86. Where are they? Okay. Is 6050 different from 6050A? Let me go back for a second. Sideburn soldiers, yes. Thanks for mentioning it. Let me see if we can see it. SN 2024. I think it is GGI, GGY. GGI, GGY. It is in NGC 362021. Not visible from here, sorry. Good evening, Belle. Just to catch you up on what we have done so far tonight, we imaged in Bortle 4 the same targets that we did last night with Bortle 7, namely the Polaris region, Messier 13 Hercules, NGC6210. We took a look at the moon. On the right side of the screen, Stellina is on watch duty for T CrB. So we're leaving Stellina alone. She'll be watching all night. Right now we're looking at 6050 Bravo. That area should be packed with smaller galaxies. Here they are. And around 11 p.m. we will grab a hoist target before going back to the moon, because there is a Chinese space station transit taking place at 11:49. We're going to try to capture that. And then as soon as we go past midnight here, then the Cocoon Nebula is on the menu. That's always a nice one. And then not much later we will have the Pillars of Creation, M16 Eagle Nebula, followed by M17. I think M104 may be out of reach now. Bill, over the next 4 months or until T Coronae Borealis goes nova on us, it is expected to blow up sometime between now and September. Until it does, I plan to have a telescope on it, dedicated on it, whenever I am imaging. So we'll always have 2 telescopes, minimum of 2, with one sitting on T CrB all night. And I plan to switch around the watch duties. Tonight it is Stellina. Tomorrow it will probably be dwarf. If the weather forecast holds, I am hoping to do my first imaging session with the 16-inch telescope either Wednesday night or Thursday night. Larry, that's what I suspected, that it's pointing to the NCP and not to Polaris. So the 16-inch Meade, I have finished all the testing on the sun, but we're still working with the university, the protocol for my access after the university closes, after everything closes, and whether I will be sleeping inside the locked gates or whether I'll have the ability to go in and out as necessary. Just in the interest of trivia, After 3 months of frustration trying to synchronize the dome to the telescope, so when the scope moves, the dome moves with it, out of frustration I decided to write my own code. For those of you Windows users, Windows 11, if you open a command prompt in a 32-bit environment as opposed to the 64, then you can execute JavaScript in Windows' own version of JavaScript, what they're referring to as Windows script. So with that in mind, I was able to write a 12-line program, literally only 12 lines of code in ASCII written in JavaScript. All it does is specify the object that is the telescope, specify the object that is the dome, read the azimuth of the telescope, and tell the dome to slew to that azimuth. Do it every minute and repeat forever. And I succeeded last week in having the dome follow the scope with only 12 lines of code. So that hurdle is behind us. Now the big uncertainty, would the 16-inch telescope have enough stars in the field of view to allow plate solving to work? I have enough trouble with my 11-inch scope. So we'll see if the 16-inch will work. Those of you folks who have Seestars or dwarfs or Stellinas or Vesperas, I'm trying to configure the 16-inch scope to behave like a smart scope. So to be blunt about it, I do not plan to align it. I just plan to send it home. And this was the big discovery for a equatorially mounted Meade telescope. Park and home are not the same place. Home is pointing to the NCP, park is pointing to the south at an altitude that is the latitude of the location. So I plan to put it there and then send it to a target. And it doesn't matter if it finds a target or not, plate solve, and have the plate solve then correctly put it where it needs to be. I plan to use Sharp Cap to do the guiding. I do not plan to use a separate guide scope on it, but rather whenever the error between the current location and where Sharp Cap thinks it's supposed to be, it will replate solve and recenter it, and it'll probably do that once every 2 or 3 minutes, and then stack all the images. Sharp Cap has been doing an extremely good job stacking images. So that's the plan with the big scope. We'll see if how far we can get this week. This is the entire program. It defines the variable as a new active object, connects, does the same with the smart dome, define it as D, and then these are just for my reference, writing what the altitude is, what the azimuth is, and this is the code. Do pretty much forever. Slew the azimuth of the dome to whatever the azimuth of the telescope is. Sleep for whatever long I wanted to sleep, 3 seconds, a minute, and just repeat. And that's the code. I had been programming ASCOM with Visual Basic, but it's a much bigger hassle than programming it with script, with JavaScript. The synopsis is courtesy of NASA. Bill, I did the cutting and pasting and giving credit where credit is due. One big concern I have with the big telescope is it's a neat idiosyncrasy. If it moves too far, it's gonna hit the hard stop and it just goes banging against it. They did not put a switch there that will turn it off or do anything. It'll just keep banging against the hard stop. So that dictates the need to be physically close to it. I'm trying to use a internet-based or network-based power switch so that if it misbehaves, I can turn the power off remotely. The danger there is if the network goes down, then I lose the ability to control it remotely. So I'm putting a heartbeat. The switch allows me to have a heartbeat, which means if it goes 10 seconds without receiving a heartbeat, it will shut down. And the only other concern is if there is a power outage and one or the other of the devices cycles but the other one does not, then we have a problem. So I'm putting a UPS, uninterruptible power supply. I'm putting both the scope and the switch on it. That is a bit tricky because the scope is being powered through the switch. So by putting the switch on the UPS, if I can find a UPS that is network controlled, then that will close the loop and potentially allow me to operate the telescope remotely, as in from the comfort of my own home 50 miles away, be able to open the dome, get the scope going. Until and unless I'm able to do all that effectively from on location, I will not be asking the university administration for permission to do it remotely. And if anybody from Oswego is watching this, do not worry, I do not plan to beg forgiveness afterwards. I do plan to seek permission before I do it. I'm not seeing any galaxies here in 6050. Larry, you're correct on both fronts. Let's see if 7129 is high enough now. Since we have exactly an hour before the transit, I'm going to see what Seestar does with a target that is at 74 degrees up. The Sunflower Galaxy it is. Stellina would complain violently if we tried to go to 73 degrees. I had never imaged anything that high with Seestar. Let's see what it does. Thanks, Sideburn. I'll try to put some. Alright, there it is. Slightly off center. Seestar has the ability to, by using the mark feature, to identify whatever it is looking at. This is part of the ASI Air, which is integral to Seestar. It's just validating a sanity check that we're looking at the right thing. I think so, Bill. I think this is T CrB. I entered the coordinates very carefully to the nearest fraction of a second into Stellina and told it to go there. So this should indeed be T CrB. The object at the center of the mark is the galaxy. It is filling in. The right picture sideburn is simply Stellina staring at a star, waiting for it to go nova. My plan is to alternate telescopes each night, give them watch duty, and all they will do is they will sit on T CrB all night. Tonight it is Stellina's turn. Tomorrow we'll do dwarf, and then etc. Right now I'm extremely tempted to go out and open the dome and get the 11-inch warmed up and see if we can have two telescopes on the moon at the same time, big scope and small scope, and see if we can get the transit. Okay, I was wondering what Seestar will do at 73-degree altitude, and this is what it's doing. A major field of view rotation on the right side of the screen. Yes, that's what I expect, Bill. Earlier this evening, Apparition was with us. I don't know if Apparition is still online. He's also imaging it from Australia. It is slightly lower to the horizon from the southern hemisphere. But NASA is expecting amateur astronomers from all around the world to be looking at it almost 24/7. I think the English bookies are probably taking bets as to when it goes boom. The moon is bright enough right now that any attempt to take Hoy's pictures runs the risk of contaminating that database with the extreme light pollution from the moon. It was in 1949. Let me see if I can get back to the NASA article. They're saying it was 1946. Sorry, my bad. Scientific American has an article, but they're not giving. They say February 1946. I'm not able to find the specific date. (1946) February 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 9. This is from Brooks Observatory on cloudy night. Let me post the link. The very first post in that thread is giving details of magnitude and the dates. Will be interesting to see if Stellarium, if we go back to those dates, whether it'll show it brighter or not. So we're talking about February 4, 1946. No, Stellarium is showing it as magnitude 2. No, it's not Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse is another story. Yeah, T CrB is 3,000 light years away. Betelgeuse is a lot closer to us. I tried with Stellarium changing the dates and I did not see the star change in size. My bad, Tiangong will not be transiting the moon tonight. My transit finder still had the location coordinates, GPS coordinates from last night, which showed me down in Rockland County in downstate New York. I'm going to try to take a picture of what Stellina is looking at and see if astrometry will confirm that this is indeed T CrB. I uploaded the image to astrometry. Let's see what it tells us. That's quite a few things happening on the same day. We are expecting a lunar eclipse partial on September 17. So if it is alerting of an imminent galactic core collapse, will or will it not alert on TCRB? Because that is what's happening there. According to science sources, they're saying it will be a core collapse. Bill, it sounds like I need to get S News or I will rely on you to alert me. we find ourselves trusting too much what the internet says, but that'll have to do for now. Okay, I am in the process of signing up to the S News alert list. Yep. Actually, it directed me to BNL. Which national lab is BNL? Brookhaven National Lab manages that alert system. Okay, I submitted a subscription to the S News alert. And they have sent me an email confirmation. Okay, I have successfully confirmed my subscription. Okay, we are subscribed. They will notify us as soon as there is a problem. Bill, yeah, apparently Brookhaven is the one that's managing that list. Now all I have to do is write a parser, so when an email comes from them it will automatically extract the right ascension and declination data and feed them into the telescope. So if I'm not around, it will automatically go there and start. There does not seem to be a similar app for Android. At least I'm not finding one. Yeah, looks like the S News Events app is available only for iPhone. Okay, if we receive an S News alert, we will act on it promptly. Astrometry.net just confirmed success. I'm waiting for it to download. The image is taking a long time. HD 143454. Okay, astrometry.net just confirmed that this is indeed T CrB. And to my surprise, it is saying that this is IC 5487. Remembering that Stellina rotates the sensor to prevent field rotation, this would explain why IC 4587 is above and not below T CrB the way it's supposed to be, or the way it appears on Stellarium. So we have confirmation that Stellina is indeed looking in the right place, and that this is indeed T CrB. It is almost tomorrow, and since the moon is not gonna let us get any work done tonight, I think it may be best that I call it a night and get ready for a full moon in 2 days and do some serious imaging of that. Bill, thanks for joining us again. Sideburn Soldiers, good seeing you again. We did achieve some success. Larry, good seeing you. Now that we have S News, they will be emailing us as soon as there is a nova or a supernova going. So if it happens at night, we'll be able to get multiple scopes going on. So for now, so long from the Pompey Observatory, and I should be back tomorrow. Definitely we're going to do some solar viewing mid-morning tomorrow. Try to get multiple telescopes on the sun. I'm anxious to try my 11-inch scope on the Ioptron mount. Bill, you missed the discussion yesterday, but I had while I was at the NEF, the president, the guy who started Ioptron, was there, and I had a nice chat with him. They have just built a mount that will carry a 70-pound payload without any counterweights. And one thing that Ioptron has done, which I could not convince Celestron to do, is all of their mounts can be used as either equatorial mounts or alt-az mounts. It is just a matter of, in the software, telling it whether it is moving relative to right ascension and declination, or if it's moving relative to altitude and azimuth. I've been trying to configure my CGX mount to act as an alt-az mount, and got to the point where all I need are 2 lines of code that Celestron needs to put in their hand controller, and I could not convince them. I talked to their engineers there, and after I convinced them that the CGX mount, if I specify latitude as 0, then the motors moving it in right ascension and declination will be moving it in azimuth and altitude, and all we need is to let the hand controller let us choose whether it is an alt-az or an equatorial. 2 lines of code, and they said their programmers are too busy right now to be bothered with remaining competitive in this world. The other thing that the big boss at Ioptron answered for me, in their manual they say do not use any adapter other than the one that we provide, a power adapter to charge the battery. And when I asked him that question point blank, he said, "Nah, you can use any 12-volt supply that you want as long as the polarity is correct on it." I said, "Thank you." So that was one of the highlights of the NEF yesterday, is to talk to the guys. And oh, by the way, I don't know if you have heard of the BISC charts and tables, but Mr. BISC in person was there. I did not realize that BISC was a person's name, but anyway, good night, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time.